lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masang Lamaw. Number 1 sa Mega Manila, nationwide pa. Broadcasting from TGON, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. Cool FM. You are listening to Cool FM. Live from Cool Studios. This is Cool News at Noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to Cool News at Noon. I'm Carlo. To fill up the job vacancies for guidance counselors in public schools, the Department of Education is working to reclassify their current pay grade and make the requirements easier for applicants. Education Secretary Sonny Angara on Friday acknowledged the lack of mental health practitioners catering to students, with about 4,000 plantilla positions still unfilled in public schools nationwide. We want to reclassify the position and we will ask for permission from the Department of Budget and Management. From salary grade 11, we will make it salary grade 13, Angara said in a radio interview. Under the adjusted salary schedule issued by Malacanan on August 2, government personnel on salary grade 11 will receive a monthly salary of 28,512 pesos as first tranche this year, while those under salary grade 13 will get 32,870 pesos. That's the starting salary, which I find really low, especially for those already holding a master's degree, Angara said. The new education chief, who assumed the post only last month, also blamed the dearth of guidance counselors on current policies that allow only those who graduated with a master's degree to become a full-fledged guidance counselor. To address this, Angara said that Ed is studying how those with an undergraduate degree in physiology and other related courses could also be hired in public schools. There is a law that you have to have a master's degree on guidance and counseling. Because of this, it is hard to fill the positions that are actually available, he explained, referring to Republic Act No. 9258 or the Guidance and Counseling Act of 2004. So there is a compromise and it's not yet final, but this is being considered in talks to let bachelor's degree holders take the position, provided that in 5 years they finish their master's degree, he added. However, Angara warned that this setup could make unlicensed guidance counselors vulnerable to being replaced by those with license. Despite the lack of guidance counselors, Angara reminded public and private schools to ensure that they have anti-bullying policies in place. According to the annual monitoring by DepEd, a total of 7,742 cases of bullying was recorded in the school year 2022 to 2023. The majority of the cases involved physical bullying, with 4,273, while the rest were classified as social bullying, with 1,742 cases, cyberbullying with 1,137, and gender-based bullying with 590 cases. A study by the De La Salle University and the Second Congressional Commission on Election, EDCOM2, released in June showed that bullying was more common in public schools with large class sizes and mostly involved students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. In a 2022 study, the Program for International Student Assessment, PISA, found that a third of Filipino students encounter a type of bullying at least once a week. Angara earlier opened promotion opportunities for public school teachers when he signed the implementing rules and regulations institutionalizing the career progression policy of the Executive Order No. 174, which was issued by his predecessor in 2022. Under the IRR, which he signed on July 26, or just 6 days into his DepEd post, the newly created positions of Teacher 4 to Teacher 7 will fall under salary grades 14 to 17, corresponding to a monthly pay of 35,000 pesos to 45,000 pesos based on the updated schedule. Under another new position, Master Teacher 5, will be under salary grade 22, or about 74,000 to 82,000 pesos. The Philippines is experiencing a shortage in accountants, a predicament that will likely worsen given the declining number of students taking accounting-related courses, coupled with other emerging trends that seem to be taking a chunk out of the talent pool of traditional accounting firms. Marvin Galang, co-founder of financial mobile app built for freelancers called Beppo, said on Friday that they found alarming the results of a survey showing that there is 41% decline in student enrollment in local accounting programs. Subsequently, we saw a decline of 35% in the number of certified public accountant examinees from 2019 to 2023, Galang said during a conference focused on the local accounting industry. This trend is compounded by rigorous examination requirements and a growing perception that accounting is less attractive compared to other career paths, he added. He also said that the talent shortage seems to be a problem across the globe and not just in the Philippines, with the demand for accountants, auditors, and financial professionals continuing to rise due to more complex regulatory environments, increasing business activities, and the need for accurate reporting. A significant portion of the current accounting workforce is approaching retirement, exacerbating the need for retirement and creating the shortage. Younger professionals are not entering the field in sufficient numbers to replace them, he said. Galang said that the repercussions of this shortage are far-reaching, affecting everything from capacity of firms to take on new clients to the financial health of small and medium-sized enterprises. Further, he said that technology is changing the accounting industry, presenting challenges such as the need for continuous learning, reskilling, upskilling, cybersecurity risk, and changes in job roles. As accounting processes become more digitalized, the risk for cybersecurity threat increases. Accountants must now be vigilant about protecting sensitive information and ensure compliance with regulations, Galang said. The integration of technology in accounting means that professionals need to be proficient in using various software and tools. The rapid pace at which technology is progressing requires accountants to engage in continuous learning and professional development, he added. Outsourcing and freelancing also presents significant challenges to the accounting industry in the Philippines, according to the company executive, noting in particular how it affects local accounting firms and the overall supply of accounting professionals. Outsourcing firms, especially those catering to international clients, often offer more competitive salaries and better benefits than local accounting firms. This draws a significant portion of the talent pool away from servicing the local market, he said. Working in outsourcing firms allows accountants to engage with global clients, providing them with diverse experience and exposure to international accounting standards. This is a compelling proposition for many professionals, leading them to prefer careers in outsourcing over traditional local accounting practices, he said further. As for the freelancing industry, Galang said this type of setup offers accountants flexibility in choosing their projects, clients, and working hours, a significant role especially for younger professionals who value work-life experience. Not experience, I mean balance. This reduces the number of accountants available to work in traditional firm settings. Many freelance accountants can command higher rates per project, especially when serving international clients, Galang said. This financial incentive encourages professionals to leave traditional firm employment. With advances in technology, accountants can easily provide their services remotely, enabling them to serve a global client base without being tied to a particular geographic location, further diminishing the talent pool available to local firms, he said. The Philippine Embassy in Lebanon urged Filipinos to leave the country while the airport is still operational amid ongoing tension in the Middle East. The Philippine Embassy in Lebanon strongly urges all Filipino citizens to leave Lebanon immediately while the airport remains operational. We advise all Filipino nationals to prioritize their safety and depart the country as soon as possible, it said in a Facebook post on Friday evening. If you are unable to leave Lebanon, we strongly recommend that you evacuate to safer areas outside of Beirut, Lebanon, and the Bekaa Valley, it added. Filipinos needing repatriation assistance were advised to fill up a form or contact the following numbers for further help. So here are the following numbers for all overseas Filipino workers, documented or undocumented. It's +961 791 10729, For overseas Filipinos with dependents with permanent resident status, for example, wife Iguama, it's plus 961-0085-8086. The safety and security of every Filipino citizen is our top priority. We urge you to act swiftly and follow the above instructions to ensure your safety, the Philippine Embassy in Lebanon said. Last month, Palestinian armed group Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in an attack blamed on Israel. The incident occurred hours after an Israeli strike on Beirut killed the military chief of Lebanon's Hezbollah movement, Fuad Shukr. The governments of Canada and China have already advised their citizens to leave and take precautionary actions in the Middle Eastern country where Hezbollah is based. It is now 12:11 in the afternoon, and koolNews at noon will be right back. Welcome back to Philippines Update. Continue with the headlines. A magnitude 5.0 earthquake struck waters off Dalupiri Island in Cagayan on Saturday morning, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology (PhilFox) said. The tremor occurred 27 kilometers northwest of the island at 7:56 a.m., the state seismologist noted. PhilFox said the quake was tectonic in origin and had a depth of focus of 10 kilometers. It added that the shaking registered experimental intensity 1 in the cities of Lalok and in the cities of Lalok and Pasuquin, Ilos Norte. The Calayan Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office recorded no damage and injuries due to the earthquake, but villagers have been cautioned to be ready for possible aftershocks. Disaster Office worker Robert Gerald Arirao told Inquirer.net in a private message. PhilFox, however, said it is not expecting any aftershock or damage to properties following this earthquake. An election service provider Smartmatic on Friday said there was nothing irregular in the tax reimbursements and obtained from the Commission on Elections (COMELEC) in 2016. But the COMELEC's usual election time workhorse, the country's public school teachers, have had enough and demanded that Smartmatic be excluded henceforth from the country's election processes. Enough already, too much already. It is Smartmatic already, said the screamer of the Department of Education Teachers Union at a press briefing on Thursday. The teachers said that their own experiences and the bribery and money laundering indictments returned by a U.S. federal grand jury in Miami, Florida last week raised serious questions about the integrity of Smartmatic. The 2016 reimbursement of 195 million pesos in value-added tax VAT was mentioned in the grand jury indictment of Smartmatic officials and former COMELEC chair Andres Bautista, who was the poll body's chair at the time. But Smartmatic's office in Makati on Friday issued a statement saying this reimbursement was approved by the COMELEC and bank based on the Bureau of Internal Revenue ruling. Smartmatic said it simply complied with the provisions in the bidding documents issued by the COMELEC for the contracts for the 2016 national and local elections, which stated that the approved budget was inclusive of all taxes, including VAT. It should be noted that such a provision was not new for that election. On the contrary, it had been present in other bidding documents for previous automated elections, including the 2013 NLE. Accordingly, Smartmatic's 2015 bids factored in all applicable taxes, including VAT, and the prices in the signed contracts for the lease of 23,000 and 70,000 machines were also inclusive of all taxes, the company said. Upon the request of COMELEC, the BRR ruled in April 2016 that the COMELEC was only entitled to withhold 5%. 4 months later, in August 2016, the COMELEC, under Bautista, reimbursed Smartmatic for the remaining 7% of the 12% VAT that had previously been withheld. But on Wednesday, COMELEC Chair George Garcia questioned the VAT reimbursements, saying the poll body should have retained their VAT. In the media forum in Manila, Garcia said the COMELEC's law department in 2016 opposed the reimbursement, and so did Bautista's successor, the late Sicto Brillantes Jr., also questioned the reimbursements. Garcia said the COMELEC will use evidence presented in the indictment to further investigate allegations of bidding, price jacking, and tax fraud, involving T3 contracts worth 3.8 billion pesos that Smartmatic obtained from the Comelec. Meanwhile, the teachers' union said their experiences in previous elections and the issues raised in the Miami indictment showed that not Comelec, Smartmatic could not be trusted. And now let's get into the headlines from what's happening around the world as COVID-19 hasn't gone away and data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention suggests it's on the upswing in the United States. We have seen these summer increases every summer that COVID-19 has been with us, except Dr. Amesh Adalja, our Johns Hopkins University Infectious Disease Physicant. What's different about these cases is, this summer versus prior summers is that they don't translate into hospitals in crisis. Adult just said factors in the seasonal increase could be increased travel, people staying indoors to avoid the summer heat, and the virus continued evolution, which could help it get around people's immunity. Testing for COVID-19 is sporadic, and the true number of cases isn't clear because many infections are reported. But one way to spot trends is to see what percentage of lab tests come back positive. By the metric, COVID-19 is surging, with nearly 50% of tests coming back positive versus less than 1% for flu. Nevertheless, doctors' offices are seeing an outsized share of people with symptoms of respiratory illness. The proportion of doctor visits for flu-like symptoms remains low. And COVID-19 related hospitalizations are rising, but they remain below the levels they seen in water and far below the peaks seen earlier in the pandemic. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also tries to monitor the spread of the coronavirus by looking for it in sewage and other wastewater at participating sites across the country. The most recent wastewater data from the beginning of August shows the highest levels since January. Detections were highest in the west and south and lowest in the northeast. The agency labels national wastewater viral activity level as very high. Experts say that to treat the data with caution because it has limitations. You just know it means there's a lot of virus out there, said Jennifer Nutso, a Brown University pandemic researcher. But you don't know how many people, how many infections that translates to. Nevertheless, the wastewater data shows there's a whole lot of COVID out there, she added. Aldal suggested staying up to date on their vaccinations and that people at high risk of a serious illness consider wearing masks in crowded, indoor, congregated areas. If you do get sick, note that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends staying away from other people until your symptoms are improving and you have been fever-free for 24 hours. COVID-19 is now basically part of the human condition, Aldal said. It's unavoidable when you interact with humans. And finally, into what's happening and in entertainment, a Missouri woman has been arrested on charges she orchestrated a grand scheme to defraud Elvis Presley's family by trying to audition off his Graceland mansion and property before a judge halted the mysterious foreclosure sale, the Justice Department said Friday. Lisa Janine Findley, age 53, of Kimberling City, falsely claimed Presley's daughter borrowed $3.8 million from a bogus private lender and had pledged Graceland as collateral for the loan before her death last year, prosecutors said. She then threatened to sell Graceland to a higher bidder and Presley's family didn't pay a $2.85 million settlements. Sorry, not settlements, but settlement, according to authorities. Finley posed as three different people allegedly involved with a fake lender, fabricated loan documents, and published a fraudulent foreclosure notice in the Memphis newspaper announcing the auction of Graceland in May, prosecutors said. A judge stopped the sale of the Presley's granddaughter's suit. Experts were baffled by the attempt to sell off one of the most storied pieces of real estate in the country using names, emails, and documents that were quickly suspected to be phony. And it goes on. And that is it for koolNews at noon. As always, you can get in touch with us at tvh.philippines.news@gmail.com. And join us again for more latest news headlines later with koolNews at 4, koolNews at 6, and koolNews Prime Time at 9. Until then, I am Cairo. Good afternoon.